Welcome to another episode of TCTF, True Crime Truth Finders. But first things first, we do our best at presenting these cases based on facts and evidence. We request that you do the same and come to your own conclusions. We are in no way making any accusations against anyone involved in this case at any time.
We were just recently able to obtain the documents that were filed against Derion Vence. The documents that we're about to go over are the charging instrument and the complaint, in addition to the state's motion for high bond and bond condition. Your client, Sergeant Mark Holbrook, is a police officer employed by the Houston Police Department Homicide Division. Your client has 29 years of experience with 17 years in the Homicide Division. Your client believes that Derion Vence, a black male with the date of birth of May 29, 1992, did on or about May 3rd of 2019 at 9850 South Kirkwood, a location in Harris County, commit the crime of tampering with evidence, namely a human corpse. Your client bases his belief on the following facts. On May 4th of 2019, this affiant was assigned to investigate a report of a missing, possibly kidnapped 4-year-old child, Maleah Davis. This affiant conducted a recorded interview with the defendant, who identified himself as Derion Vence, with the date of birth of May 29th of 1992. The stepfather of the missing child, hereafter defendant. Your affiant verified the defendant's stated identity through law enforcement databases. The defendant told this affiant that he lives at 9850 South Kirkwood in Harris County, Texas, with his girlfriend, Brittany Bowens, and 3 children. The defendant stated, and your affiant has verified via flight records, that on Tuesday, April 30th of 2019, the defendant's girlfriend, Bowens, left the state via airplane and was set to return on May 3rd of 2019, leaving defendant to care for the children. The defendant stated that on Friday, May 3rd of 2019, at around 7 p.m., he left his apartment at 9850 South Kirkwood with 2 children, namely the complainant and his 2-year-old child, KV, to pick up Bowens from the airport. Your affiant has verified with the biological father of the eldest child that the eldest child had already been picked up by the biological father and was no longer in the defendant's care. The defendant told this affiant that he was driving Bowens' silver Nissan Altima with the 2 children inside. The defendant said that he pulled over to check on the tire of the vehicle after he hit a bump and a blue pickup truck pulled up behind him. The defendant then told this affiant that he was kidnapped by a group of Hispanic males in the blue pickup truck and received a blow to his head. The defendant said he did not ever again see the silver Nissan Altima he was driving. The defendant told the affiant that the suspects in the truck would stab him when his son, KV, cried out. The defendant showed this affiant lacerations to his chest, and he said were made by the kidnappers while he was in their pickup truck. The defendant said he passed out and woke up on Saturday evening at approximately 7 p.m. May 4th, 2019, at an unknown location on Highway 6 near Sugar Land, Texas, with only his 2-year-old son, KB. The defendant stated he did not know where Maleah was. The defendant said he walked with his 2-year-old and they eventually got a ride from an unknown female to Methodist Sugar Land Hospital. There, at 11:21 p.m., he made an outcry that Maleah Davis was missing. This affiant has reviewed video surveillance footage from the porch of an apartment next to the defendant's apartment, located at 9850 South Kirkwood, Harris County, Texas, and found it to be inconsistent with the defendant's statements. The footage shows at approximately 1:40 p.m. on Friday, May 3rd of 2019, a person this affiant recognizes as the defendant carrying out of the defendant's apartment a large blue laundry basket with a large black trash bag inside. This affiant observed from the video that the basket appears heavy due to the stance the complainant uses when walking. The defendant walks away out of the camera view and returns approximately 3 minutes later without the basket. This affiant has further observed from surveillance footage that the defendant walks out of the apartment with cleaning supplies including bleach. This affiant, along with the detective sergeant Josh Horn, also assigned to the homicide division, whom affiant finds to be a credible and reliable person, have reviewed the video, and after the defendant takes out the blue basket, the complainant is never again seen on the camera leaving the apartment. At approximately 1840 hours, the time that corresponds to the defendant's statement that he left the apartment with the 2-year-old and Maleah Davis to go to the airport, the defendant is seen on the camera leaving with only the 2-year-old and not Maleah. The biological father of the eldest child, who is also the father of Maleah, has also verified that when he went to pick up his eldest child shortly prior to 7 p.m. on Friday, he asked to see Maleah, and the defendant would not allow him to see her. On Sunday, May 5, 2019, this affiant spoke with the detective Nina Sharp of the Homicide Division, whom affiant finds to be a credible and reliable person. Detective Sharp went to the apartment of the defendant and his girlfriend Brittany Bowens with their consent. Detective Sharp was told this affiant that she observed drops of blood in the hallway leading to the bathroom of the apartment and on various surfaces of the bathroom for the apartment. Detective Sharp was present when crime scene investigators from the Houston Forensic Science Center sprayed reagent that reacts to blood in the hallway and bathroom of the apartment. This reagent reacted to the presence of blood not visible to the unaided eye. This affiant knows from his training and experience that this reagent reaction occurs when a person has attempted to clean up blood. Detective Sharp supervised the collection of samples from these visible and reagent-only visible stains, which were tagged and analyzed by the Houston Forensic Science Center. During his interview, the defendant stated to your affiant that there should be no blood in the home and that no one was recently bleeding. The affiant has spoken with analyst Courtney Head of the Houston Forensic Science Center, who has reviewed the analysis of the presumptively positive blood samples from the swabs lifted in the apartment. Analyst Head, whom affiant believes to be a credible and reliable person and who is trained in the science of forensic DNA, has told this affiant that the most of the samples are a mixture with a female contributor as the major component. The major component is consistent with DNA samples taken from Maleah's toothbrush. Further testing also showed that the major component is consistent with being from a person who is the maternal offspring of Brittany Bowens. This affiant has reviewed the surveillance footage from outside the emergency department of Sugarland Methodist Hospital when the defendant arrived. This affiant found the defendant pulled up to the hospital riding in a silver Nissan Altima. This affiant has shown this video to Brittany Bowens, the girlfriend and owner of the vehicle, who told this affiant that the vehicle in the surveillance footage was her vehicle, and the same vehicle the defendant claimed he had never seen again after his alleged abduction. This affiant was present at the vehicle examination building of the Houston Forensic Science Center on Friday, May 10th of 2019, when the silver Nissan Altima was processed for evidence, after it was located in Missouri City on May 9th of 2019. This affiant noted a blue laundry basket similar in appearance to the blue laundry basket that the defendant carried out of the apartment in the trunk of the vehicle. This affiant observed when a trained certified canine handler, Johnny Bickle, had 2 separate canine dogs trained to sniff the scent of a cadaver, walked around the vehicle and other vehicles in the parking lot. Both dogs, Remy and Coco, alerted in the manner of their training to the trunk of the vehicle. This affiant spoke with Johnny Bickle, whom affiant finds to be a credible and reliable person, who stated to affiant that Bickle knows, based on training and experience, that the dogs were responding to the scent of decomposition in the vehicle. Also located in the vehicle was a gas can. Brittany Bowen stated to your affiant that she did not recognize the can, and the can was not something she normally kept in her vehicle. The affiant further learned from Alicia Matthews of Child Protective Services that CPS has an open investigation concerning prior injuries to Maleah Davis. Your affiant also knows from the initial contact with the defendant that the defendant had been aware of the law enforcement investigation into the disappearance of Maleah Davis. The defendant is presently charged with the second-degree felony of tampering with a human corpse committed on or about May 3rd of 2019. While the state of Texas has at present charged a single instance of conduct by the defendant relating to the subsequent disappearance of the body of the victim, as herein alleged, the state believes that upon further investigation, there is a substantial likelihood that additional charges may be forthcoming, including, but not limited to, the first-degree felony offense of murder. Based upon the egregiousness of the facts involved in the probable cause affidavit and the fact that the defendant will be facing considerable time in prison given the seriousness, scope, and scale of the charged offense and further possible charges, the defendant has substantial incentive to flee the jurisdiction and evade justice. Due to the foregoing facts as well as the facts laid out in the warrant in this cause, the state of Texas urges the court to set a bond of $1 million, prohibit the defendant from having any contact with any persons under the age of 18, surrender any passport in possession of the defendant, and to remain within Harris County, Texas at all times.